Good afternoon to all the good viewers of this program. We are going to cover the 23rd part of the life of Musa al-Kazim, the sadistic serial killer. Allow me to share the link in our Telegram page as usual so that anybody who wants to watch it live can have access to it. And I will also click on it from my side as well, so I can bring it up. The life of Musa al-Kazim. That way, if there's any problems, I can deal with them right away. All right. And I'll also say good afternoon to all the people that will be chatting in the live text as well. Allow me to start with sharing the material that we need to cover so that everyone will have an opportunity to have it on their screens in whichever way of device that you're using. So last week, as you remember, we were talking, well, last week we didn't have the program because I had a lot of different stuff that I needed to take care of. So time was very limited. But the week before it, as you remember, he was being taken to prison. Court was done. And the mullahs were still trying to weasel him out of the state that he is truly in with their writings, but with no avail. So we left it where the king of the time, the Khalif of the time, and his son, they're talking. And according to the mullahs, they say that the son called his father commander of the faithful, which is what the Muslims were calling their kings, their Khalifs, the person who's in charge of both the government side and the religious authority of the country. And he says, you gave 5,000 dinars to the children of the immigrants and the Ansar and all the Quraysh and all the Banu Hashim and those who had unknown lineage. Where was this given? As you remember, court was held in the city of Medina, and it was the people of the city of Medina who were accusing Musa al-Kazim of stealing their money. They were accusing him of raping their girls as part of his pedophile works. And the Ansar and the immigrants, well, the immigrants are those who, during the time of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, the human feces, they migrated, supposedly, according to the history of Islam, they migrated from Mecca to Medina. In reality, they migrated from Petra to Medina because there was no Mecca on the maps. And if there's no big city of Mecca that supposedly is for all the trade, and you can't find it on a map, that means it doesn't exist. Because every city that was a capital, a trade type city, a port type city, shows up on old maps because they are important. We're not talking about some village in some rural area in the middle of a desert where nothing happens. According to the Muslims' history, Mecca is a thriving area where people from all over Africa, Europe, and Asia come there to compete with each other in trades, sell their goods, have it go around the world. So when you have something like that, it should clearly be on maps where you can find the city and say, aha, that city exists. But when you can't find the city on a map that is supposed to be so well known, that means it doesn't exist. It's only a story. So the people that came there are truly from Petra and not Mecca, because Mecca did not exist. And now those who emigrated to Medina, they're the immigrants. The people of Medina are the Ansar. The Quraysh are the tribal family of Muhammad, meaning everybody's in that group, people who are not close to him but are still somehow family members of his. The Banu Hashim are the direct family members of his, because he is from the Banu Hashim, the family of the Prophet of Islam. Right? They come from a guy named Hashem, so they are Banu Hashem, you know. And apparently 5,000 dinars is being given to the children of all these groups. That means Musa al-Kazim, he was a predator who committed pedophile on every child he could get himself close to. He did not care if they are the immigrants, the Ansar, the Quraysh, the Banu Hashim of his own. If he saw a child and the parents weren't around, he was going to go ahead and do some kind of a sexual assault on that child. Hence, the king of the whole entire empire is giving out 5,000 dinars, spreading it amongst all these children, because in Islam, you can buy, monetarily wise, the freedom of somebody who is supposed to be killed. So two people go and get in an accident, or one of them kills the other in some way. In Islam, you're given permission to go ahead and ask the family members of the dead person how much would they like you to pay them, so that they can drop charges on you. And if they drop the charges, the state will drop the charges and you get away free. So with that in mind, now, because the Abbasids are from the same family, they are all from the Quraysh, they're the same family as Muhammad. They're all from the Banu Hashim. So now they decided, we'll buy the freedom of Musa al-Kazim so that we don't have to kill him in the same city. Rather, we'll just throw him in prison. So they paid off these kids so that they will keep it quiet, be silent. Don't come out and say, this guy did this to me, and describe what he did to you word for word, and have it written so that the whole entire empire will know. They tried to keep it hush-hush. As much as the Shia Muslims today will tell you, oh, the Abbasids are bad, the Abbasids were the shields of these people. And then we find out here that it says, you magnified and respected Musa bin Jafar. Nevertheless, you gave him 200 dinars, which was the most magnificent gift you gave to anyone. So 200 dinars, when he's giving it to him, means he's giving it to his kids. Means that's given to his wives. So loosely said, because, you know, they are all FUCKING contracts in Islam. It's given to his slaves, who he used to rape. Because in Islam, the slaves you have inside your house, you're not allowed to rape them. There's two types of slaves, the outside one and the inside one. The inside one is there just for domestic work. The outside one, you can do whatever you want with. Harun became displeased with Ma'mun and shouted at him, saying, silence. So the father saying, silence, don't ask me these questions. You already know what we're doing. You know, may you have no mother, meaning like, don't you have a mother? Don't you understand? Don't you know what the kids are going through? Like what we're trying to do here? We're trying to save the family. You know, where did you come out of? Somewhere in the wilderness? We got to save the family name. You know, if I give this Musa what I had promised, he would hit me in the face with 100,000 swords and followers. Here you see that the mullahs are starting a lie. First of all, Musa al-Kazim was a coward. He sat at home. He had power over little kids. He inbreeded his own daughters, committed incest, pedophilia, and rape, child molest. And then he sent those boys to go out and fight for him who lost. He didn't have any followers. According to himself, majority of his followers are his own kids, and the other ones are spread out through the whole entire empire. And this is a big empire. It had the Persian Empire of the past. It had most of the lands of Judea, Egypt, Assyria. That's a huge territory. That territory would be bigger than United States is today. By far. It's bigger than the territory of even China of today, because Persia of the past was not the small little Iran of today, which in itself is big. It was huge. It's a huge area. And on top of that, they had Turkey, and they had parts of the Baltics, and they had Spain, and they had North Africa. I mean, the area is big, huge. So it's not a little tiny area that we're talking about. And Musa al-Kazim says they're all over the place. You know, one's in that city in Africa, one's over there in Iran, one's over here, over there. They're not all together. So who is he going to bring? And all of those people that he so calls are his followers, none of them have the guts to come and fight for him. That's why he's arrested and they're nowhere to be found. So when the mullah tells you, yeah, he will bring 100,000 swords, he's lying. According to Musa al-Kazim, his followers were only 500. So where are the rest going to come from? This is how you can tell when the mullahs start to lie, and how you can catch them in their act. No, the 200 dinars was just to take care of those who were eating while Musa al-Kazim was over their heads. Now that Musa al-Kazim is going to prison, they have to be given some money so that they can survive. Hence, they were given this money. It wasn't given to Musa al-Kazim. And Musa al-Kazim has no followers. And Musa al-Kazim is a coward. He can't fight anybody on his own. That's why he never picked up a sword. That's why he never went to the battlefield. He sent others to do it for him. The narration clearly indicates that Harun thought that Musa was an imam. No, the narration clearly has shown us, according to what you, the mullahs, are writing, that Harun was at war against Musa al-Kazim. Harun decided to take Musa al-Kazim's son, Ali al-Radha, to be the person to make the agreement of peace with. They hired him to be part of the government, and they threw Musa al-Kazim in prison. They did not see him as an imam, as you want to say. Rather, they saw him as the worst criminal in the empire. It's funny. They come and they tell us the spies and henchmen of Islamic Republic of Iran. I'll show it in the Persian program later on today, because we'll have 4 programs. They come along and they said, oh, this guy, this Musa al-Kazim, he's a nobody now. He's a nobody. But here, right here, they're going to tell you, the same mullahs tell you, Allah's mercy on his creation is Hujjatullah. So first, this guy became the mercy, this Musa al-Kazim, the pedophile, the incest, the child molesting, the killing, the raping, the looting, the scam artist, the Ponzi schemes that this guy ran. For all of those crimes, this Musa al-Kazim is supposedly the proof. See here it says Hujjatullah. You see this Hujjatullah? This Hujjatullah, okay, proves many things to us. Number one, Hujjat means proof. Okay, Hujjat means proof. When they put this UL here, it means proof of. And then you see this LAH. I will highlight it for you. That LAH is the name of their God, La. So it became proof of La. When they tell you that their God is named Allah, they're lying to you. Their God is named La. And the Muslims don't understand it because majority of Muslims today do not speak Arabic, do not understand Arabic. All they know how to do is read Arabic, and majority of them don't even read Arabic properly. They butcher it as they go. All these Pakistanis, Indians, and the rest, and Malaysians, Indonesians, and Singaporeans, and the rest, all of them in Africa, they cannot read Arabic. They think they can read Arabic, but they cannot read Arabic. They can't even pronounce some of the letterings in the Arabic language. They make a mockery of it. They, instead of saying G, they say G. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know how to pronounce the words properly. And when you show it to them, they don't understand because they've never been taught. So Hujjat, this first part here, Hujjat means proof. When you put that ul beside it here, and it becomes Hujjatul, means proof of. And then this last part is La, becomes Hujjatullah. La is the name of their God, proof of La. So they don't know who their own God is. So now all of a sudden this Musa al-Kazim became proof of La. And now because we've done such a great job in the last 23 parts, including this, they come and they write, he's a nobody. Talk about Ali and Hussein. We've already talked about that too. We've shown what kind of slime buckets they were as well. But we'll go back to them later on, eventually. However, now this guy became a nobody. I mean, this guy is the one that is the Bab al-Hawaij, you know. Bab al-Hawaij means the gate for whatever it is that you want. You know, whatever you want from God, go to this guy, this Musa al-Kazim. Go to his grave. And when you get to his grave, just ask God in the name of this Musa al-Kazim, and then God will just shower it on you like, go ahead. You got whatever you want. Right? I don't know why they don't use them to take out Israel. I mean, they keep talking about how Israel is the little Satan, America is the big Satan, and we got to get rid of all of them. Why don't they go to this guy's grave and ask? I mean, God is supposed to magically, you know, pour everything down on you and say, here you go. He's supposed to open your hand and whatever you want, he'll just put it inside your hand and wrap it up for you and say, go ahead. Why don't they go to his grave? All of a sudden now he turned into nobody. He's a nobody now. He's nobody. Stop talking about this guy. He's a nobody. Oh boy. I'm the nightmare of the Shia religion because I know it better than they know it. And when I come out and I start talking, they can't take it because they cannot dispute what I say. So then they start trying to attack and they try to downplay their important imams This guy who's supposed to be the proof of Allah, Hujjatullah. This guy who is supposed to be the big Imam. This guy who the whole world is supposed to be ranting and raving about, according to Islamic Republic of Iran and their spies that they sent online to come and attack us, turned out to become a nobody now. He's a nobody. Don't talk about this guy anymore. He's a nobody. He's nobody. Come on now. We'll have to make a new name for him. Mr. Nobody. Nobody knows his sorrows. Nobody knows his problems. Nobody knows what's going on with him. He's nobody now. He's nobody. He's not the beginning of the onion and he's not the end of the onion. You know, he's somewhere in the middle. You know, he's just nobody. He's, you know, he's just lost within the crowd. You know, he's just there somewhere, you know. Turn into a nobody, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not even done. We're going to mop the floor with your imams. These are your imams. I'm going to mop the floor with every single one of your imams. I'm going to make sure that nobody follows this pathetic, terroristic religion anymore. We're not done yet. We're going to free Iran. We're going to free all the Muslim countries from the grip of terrorism. We're going to free the rest of the world from the hands of you terrorists. You've done your terrorism on the Muslim people, and you're doing your terrorism on the rest of the world. And we are going to free every single one of them. We're going to wake them all up. Just watch. There is nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing. However, the thing that moved him, Harun was moved. He was moved by the amount of disgusting crimes he found by one person committed on a whole entire city, and furthermore on other cities too, because of the wars. That deprived him of the Khilafat love for this world. Oof. Harun really loved to be a Khalif. I mean, of course he wanted to be a Khalif. Which donkey lives today that you can point to that will say to you, they don't want to move up in life? I mean, who do you find that grows up when they're asked in school, when they're a little kid and they're asked in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you find that says, I want to turn into a homeless person and live on the side of the streets? Nobody. All the kids will tell you, I want to become a doctor. I want to become a lawyer. I want to become an astronaut. I want to become a famous sports athlete. I want to become a nurse. I want to become a this and a that and a this and a that. Somebody will say they want to become a president. No one will tell you they want to turn into a homeless person. I mean, which kid will tell you in the middle of a class, oh, I wish I grow up so I can become a drug addict and then overdose on drugs? Nobody's going to tell you that. Every human being is created the same way. Every human being wants to get ahead. Forget human being. I'll scratch that out. Every being, animal of any kind, starting from the little ant, going all the way up to the blue whale. Every being wants to succeed and move ahead. Huh? You see that with the animals. I mean, you have two cats in the neighborhood, two tomcats, you know, the male. They're going to fight over that territory because they want to breed the kids. You know, they want to have their offsprings come out of the females. You put two dogs in the same area, two male dogs. You know, they're going to fight over the females, the bitches. Because they want their kids to come out. You put two sheeps, two horses, two cows. You know, the bulls will fight each other. That's at an animalistic level. And a human being, we want to get ahead. Everybody will thrive to try to get ahead. So who doesn't want to become a Khalif? You mullahs are trying to fight until today to bring a dead man from 1,000 years ago and push a dead person from 1,000 years ago and force the dead person from 1,000 years ago to be your Khalif, your Imam. A dead man. He's dead. He couldn't do anything for himself. If he could, he wouldn't die. But yet, you want that dead man to become a Khalif. So why you have a problem if somebody else wants to be a Khalif? They did a better job than your dead man. Your Musa can't hold a candle to the works of Harun. Harun, at least, he wasn't committing pedophile on every child he saw. Harun, at least, was not committing incest with his own children like your Musa al-Kazim, and before him Ja'far al-Sadiq, and before him Muhammad al-Baqir, and before him Ali Zain al-Abidin, and before him Hassan and Hussein, and before them Ali, and before Ali Muhammad al-Ghatam, and before Muhammad al-Ghatam was his grandfather and his uncles and his cousins. I mean, the whole family was in incest. They all raped their own kids, boys and girls, and they don't care. They were the prophet and imams of the LGBTQ. They were all bisexuals, and they were the worst of the LGBTQ because they were into incest and they were into pedophilia, which most LGBTQ people even have a problem with. They don't want those people included in them, even though governments today are forcing them in there, but they don't want them there, you know. Ata Muhammad was a transvestite, used to wear Aisha's little clothes. You had a 57-year-old man forcing himself into the clothes of a 9-year-old girl, and he would say if he doesn't wear it, he won't get revelations from the so-called Allah. He can only get it when he's wearing the clothing of a child who's a girl, who he's raping in the name of a FUCKING contract, as if a little girl at the age of 6 can come up with the right mindset of what it means to become in a FUCKING contract, and what are your responsibilities as a woman when you're just a child in such a contract with an old man who's old enough to be her grandfather. Huh? And the rest were the same. All of the imams that came from this line did the exact same thing. They all dressed up as a woman. They all were into incest. They all raped their own kids as well. They're no better. But we continue. We continue here. The statement of Harun was mentioned. The reason of depriving this Imam of yours, Musa al-Kazim, of being able to live amongst the people in Medina was all the crimes we just talked about. Or was it because he was an imam of some sort? No, he was the court jester of the town. He was a monster, a sadistic monster. He'd know nothing about God. Certainly Harun came to know of the position of the imam. Yeah, your Musa al-Kazim, he came to know his position very well. The amount of land he stole from the people. Then he pretended he's bankrupt and he has no money to give. Sending his own kids to go gather armies to go and fight, killing people. Then he came to the houses of those whose husbands had been killed, and he took them as his slaves, committing pedophile with their children, raping anyone he can find, boy, girl, women, you name it, he was on top of it. Yes, Harun came to find out who your Musa is and what his position is. The worst of all positions. And here you see, mullahs will lie. Oh, he was Allah's Khalif. Allah's Khalif and his servant. Well, you can't be his Khalif and his servant at the same time. You can't be both. If you're the Khalif for your Allah, then you are Allah's Khalif. Okay? Here they want to make it like, no, he was underneath Allah. According to you guys, your God doesn't need anybody. Why does he need Khalifs? Is he going to do part of your God's work for you? I mean, you Muslims say that Allah doesn't need anybody, doesn't need nobody. Allah is sufficient. He can do everything. So why he needs a Khalif? You only need a Khalif if you're going to dictate to your Khalif to do something for you. Like, for example, the king of Iran will put a person in charge over the state of Yemen. And now that person in charge of Yemen will do what the king of wants in Yemen because he can't be there. You know, he's only one man. But you say your God is everywhere. This Allah is everywhere. And he does everything. So if he does everything, what does he need this guy for? So now your God cannot be everywhere because he needs a Khalif on earth. He needs somebody to run the day-to-day operations of earth. That is what you're telling us when you say he is Allah's Khalif. He is a Khalif, a king, for the people of the earth. So he is going to run the day-to-day operations. Well, this guy couldn't run the day-to-day operations of his own house. He had to tell his own son to come and run it for him. He faked his own death to get away from paying the people back their monies. So what kind of Khalif is your Allah having? Your Allah's Khalif faked his own death so that he won't have to deal with day-to-day operations of the people of his own city, who he owed money to, he owed land to. And he's the servant of his Allah as well. How is he going to serve Allah? I thought you said your Allah doesn't need anybody. He can do everything on his own. You said your Allah doesn't need to eat, drink, sleep, anything else. But apparently in the Quran, your Allah is dependent on the people. He needs a load of gold and money. So your Allah is in need of gold and money. Bring your gold and bring your money because Allah needs your gold and your money. He'll accept any currency, you know, whatever currency you have on earth is acceptable. Just bring it, you know. Allah needs the gold and money. He needs you to give him a loan. And he will not repay it over here. He'll repay it when you die on the day of judgment. You know, he'll give you money back if you make it to heaven. If you make it to heaven, he'll pay you back in heaven. Okay? But you got to make it to heaven to get back your loan. I mean, there's conditions. You know, he's not going to come out of heaven to give it to you. Apparently, this Allah is, you know, he's paralyzed. He sits on a throne, which is a bed throne, like a futon bed. Okay? He sits on that. He has 2 feet connected to one leg. Okay, and then that leg, he's got 2 arms coming out the right side. One arm has 3 fingers, and the other arm has 2 fingers. And his futon bed is on top of a rooster. And your Allah has a face. He has a face. He has 2 eyes. He has a face. And he's got wiry type hair. Huh? Similar to hair that you find from people from the African descent, you know, that turns into like an afro very, very fast. He's got that type of hair. Yeah. And he's fat. I mean, this leg is fat. So we know he's fat. Who gave this description? Muhammad Ghatam gave us this description. And your Amir al-Mu'minin Ali, you know, the father of the earth, I'm father of the sun. Don't get us two Alis separated from, you know, don't mix us up. We're separated from each other, okay? I'm father of the sun. That one is father of the earth, okay? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib told you people, all of you Muslims, and you Shias, you love to say it because you say, Ali said, don't worship the Dajjal. You know, the Dajjal has only one eye, but your Lord has 2 eyes. So Ali himself says, your Lord has 2 eyes. Why are you saying that? Because they describe to you who the Dajjal will look like. Dajjal is a short man. He's missing some hair. He's got 1 eye. The hair that he has is like an afro type hair. So he's bald in the middle, a little bit of hair around the side. Huh? That's your God. It looks like that, except your God has 2 eyes. The Dajjal has 1 eye. And who confirmed it? Ali ibn Abi Talib. And all of you Shias and the Sunnis run around and tell this to everybody. You wanted to talk about Ali, right? We're talking about that. We're punishing your Ali. We're wiping the fleas under my shoe. If you want to know, you can come find your Ali. He's under my shoe. And underneath my other shoe is Muhammad Ghatam, your prophet. They're both under my shoes. I trample them in my talks every single day. I tell the truth about them by trampling them, and there is nothing you can do about it. Nothing. So he asked about him and Al-Amin al-Ma'mun, and he told him what would happen between them. Ooh. They asked Musa al-Kazim, you say you work for your Allah? Tell us what will happen between Al-Amin and Al-Ma'mun, the 2 brothers, you know. Well, tell us what the king's kids, what will happen between them. That hurt him. Oh, Musa al-Kazim started telling him, oh, you know, one of them will have a heart attack. The other one will have a small penis. This one will have a large leg. That one will have a knee that will pop out. This one will have this one. This one will grow horns over his head. This one will do this. This one will. He told him a bunch of lies. That made Harun sad. Harun was like, I cut you in all your lies. You don't know nothing about my kids. He ordered me to sit by him, and I sat down. Then I rose, so he ordered me to sit down, and I sat down. When the people scattered, he asked me, first of all, since when have you seen a prisoner order the Khalif of the time, the king of the time? You sit down, come on, sit down. And then if the king stands, no, sit down. Who in their right mind would believe such a thing? Huh? I mean, you all know the King of England, right? Prince Charles. He's now a king. He's no longer a prince. It's King Charles. Imagine King Charles. He has a law that wherever he goes, okay, it's not just in England, wherever he goes on this planet, you are not even allowed to walk in front of him. Doesn't matter who you are, President of the United States or anybody else. The only one who defied this was Donald J. Trump when he pushed himself in front of the Queen of England and walked in front of her like as if she's a nobody. Okay, he's the only one who's ever done it. Nobody else has the guts. Now imagine King Charles comes in front of you. He's visiting you. And you are in prison. I mean, people are coming and watching you like you're some kind of zoo creature behind bars, you know. You're holding on to the bars, and people are coming and looking, and they're like, that's him, right there, him. He's the one, that's the monster they caught. Okay? And then you turn around and you say to King Charles, sit down, man, sit down. Sit. I told you, sit. And then King Charles is going to look at you and say, well, I mean, he told me to sit. I'm going to sit down. Who in their right mind would believe such a stupid thing? This is how they brainwash the Muslims. They write stuff like this. They don't make it clear who is he talking to. So that the Muslim, when he reads this, he doesn't understand what he's reading. He's brainwashed. It's not his fault. He's brainwashed. And then when the people scattered, I mean, people went home. They didn't scatter. People scatter when something happens, like an earthquake happens and everyone scatters. Typhoon comes over and everyone scatters. Tornado hits and everybody scatters. They leave town. Why are they scattering here? Did you explain to us what happened? Why did the people scatter? When the people scattered, what happened? Earthquake came in? I'm not talking about the professional wrestler either. No. People went home. It became dark. The whole day, people came and watched this guy like a zoo creature, and then they left. They went home. It's dark. It's time to go home. Eat some food. Get some sleep. We got a busy day the next day. People go home. It's not scattered. People go home. Why is the Khalif there? The Khalif is there explaining to the people. He's telling the people, look, we got him. You are all witnesses. You're here. You're seeing it for yourself. He's behind bars. He cannot hurt anyone anymore. We got him. The empire is safe from within. We got the biggest, most wanted person in the whole entire empire. The biggest monster in the land has been imprisoned for life. This is what's going on. The Khalif is there explaining to the people. He says, take a good look for yourselves. Be witnesses. Make sure you let everyone know he can no longer harm anyone. We are at peace now in the land. And when the people left, the Khalif had some words for Musa al-Kazim. But the mullahs will turn it around with their insane ideas. That the guy who's in prison is going to tell the king, you sit down. That's not how it works. You don't go to a courtroom and tell the judge in the court what to do. The judge tells you what to do. The judge tells you when you can stand up and when you can sit down. The judge tells you when you can open your mouth and when you can close your mouth. You, as the person who has no power, do not tell the person who has all the power what to do. That doesn't fly on any country on this earth. Pick your country. The one in power always tells the one that doesn't have power what to do, not the other way around. Asthma. do you not like to see my sons, Muhammad and Abdullah? Asma, his daughter, came there and said to Musa, don't you want to see your sons? Why would Asma, who is a daughter of Musa, come to him while he's in prison and say to him, don't you want to see your sons? I mean, you're the one who impregnated me. I gave birth. You did this twice, and I have 2 kids. Don't you want to see them? Don't you want to finally, now that you've been caught, you've been committed on this crime, don't you want to at least acknowledge them? That's what she's saying. This shows you that people were coming and witnessing. This shows you that those who were abused were there in front of the people, to the point that the mullah has to write it in. But the mullah doesn't know what to do. The commander of faithful. Musa is not the commander of faithful. Musa is the court jester who's in jail now. I like to do that. Oh, now he wants to see his kids. Now that he has no hope, he wants to see the kids. I've come to greet them. You didn't come, they came to you. Harun al-Rashid ordered them to be brought. Who ordered it? Harun al-Rashid. So Harun, the Khalif, now says, hey, go ahead. Bring them forward. Let him see them so that he sees what he's done. Maybe he'll be ashamed of what he's done. They came and stood before their father. See, even according to the mullahs, his incest breeds came and stood beside him. They greeted him. They sat down on this side of the bar while he sits on that side of the bar. Muhammad sat by the right hand. You know why he sat by the right hand? Because he can't go inside and hug the guy. He has to sit by the hand. You know, you slide your hand out of the bar, and, you know, the other person can now touch your hand, you know. You sit by the hand. A whole bunch of nonsense. He lectured them. He gave them literature. What kind of literature are you going to get from inside the prison? The only literature we're talking about here is Musa is trying to send out notes. You've seen in prison, people, they try to give notes, you know. He was trying to smuggle notes out of prison. Hey, you know, go tell this to the people. We still need to rip them off. You know, we need to, you know, go do this one for that one. You know, go give this message for me to so and so, and tell them to, you know, rip off this way and that way the next person, and you know, let's keep the scheme going. That's what he's talking about. Even here, the mullah will say to you, what is your opinion of their literature? Well, my opinion of the literature is he's scamming. He wants to scam. He wants to create this idea of how he's innocent. He didn't do anything. They're just taking it out on him because they don't like him. Supposedly, they don't like this guy and his family, but they fought a whole war to take out the Bani Umayyad, replace them with their own dynasty, on the charges of Bani Umayyad killed Hussein and his family. Which Hussein? The same Hussein that would wait until when the Islamic armies would invade cities in Iran, and then he would come and steal the little girls whose parents were just killed by the army, and he would take them as part of his booty so that he can have them as his sex slaves. Little girls. That's right. And then he would share them in an orgy with his father, Ali. We've already shown that when we talked about what they used to do to the Iranian girls that they would abduct, and how Ali would then kill them because he didn't want to call them by their Persian names. He wanted to give them an Arabic names, and they were patriotic enough to say, no, we are Persians, we're not Arabs. We will go by the name that was given to us, our Persian names. There's nothing wrong with it. And Ali would beat them. He would beat the little kid to death. And I mean to death, literal death. He beat them until they died, while sharing them with his son. If you wanted to see the best porn movies of the day 1,400 years ago, you would go and watch them. I mean, the whole family was involved in this. Aisha was teaching people how to take showers while being naked behind a curtain that you can see through, a white curtain, showing her body, teaching people how to do a major ablution, how to do your baths. People came and watched. If you go further back, Muhammad and Ali, both of them used to go to Hajj, and they would bring their girlfriends with them, and in front of the people, live in front of the people, in front of their eyes, they would be having sex shows going on where their semen would be dripping from them. It's all in the books. And the Abbasid dynasty went and fought for these guys to keep the name alive. And yet they want to tell you, oh, it's because they hated him. That's what Musa al-Kazim was trying to do. Portray himself as innocent, while everyone in the town knew this guy's not innocent. That's what the literature was for. Commander of the faithful. I have never seen anyone better than them in cleverness. Understand. Yes, your Musa was very clever in how to fool little kids so that he can commit his pedophilia actions, satisfy his desires. He understood very well how to play with the little mind of children and how to keep them inside his house, how to breed with his own daughters and commit incest. Yes, he understood it very well. That's right. He understood if he gets slaves and he brings slaves into his house, the slaves won't have family around to ask, how's your life going? What's been happening to you? And he can abuse them and no one will question it because no one will come to his house and knock on the door and say, can I see my daughter? No, it's a slave. You went into African cities, killed people in the name of Islam to increase the land, and then you stole their daughters and their wives. You've brought them into town, and now Musa al-Kazim has paid a little bit of money. He's bought them and brought them home. Their families are far, far away, don't even know where this person is, and you can do whatever you want to them, and no one will question. Yes, he understood very well how to take advantage of the poor and the weak and the meek. He understood it very well. Asma, they will show enmity towards each other. Of course, they will show enmity towards each other. They're your kids. They learn what you learned. They learn from their brothers. Ali al-Rada will come and say that they're all his kids, so he can make money off of them all because you told him to do so. I was astonished at that, and I asked Musa about the astrologers told me about that on their birthday. I thought these were Muslims. I thought the family of the Prophet was the family that the Muslim Shia will tell you they were one God worshippers from before the Prophet of Islam became a prophet. Huh? They will tell you they were following the religion of Ishmael, for you guys in English. They tell you a rant about how he was a one God worshiper, the whole family was a one God worshiper, and the whole people just believed in one God. Now we have it. His own daughter is going to the astrologer to ask the astrologer, like the Hindus and the Buddhists do. They go to the astrologer to find out on the birthday of their child what's going to happen with their child. Tell me about my child. Tell me. Supposedly Musa al-Kazim is there to guide the people. He can't even guide his own family. He never guided his family. He never guided anybody. He couldn't guide himself. And this is the family of the Prophet. Your Prophet was into the same stuff. He copied anything he can find. The Zoroastrians did, put it in the book. Hindus do it, put it in the book. Buddhists did it, put it in the book. He didn't even understand what a Christian is. So until today, they can't say what a Christian is. Like they can't call you a Christian. Instead of calling you a Christian, they call you Christ. Okay? So he didn't even know what the Christians are called, but put it in the book. You're Jewish? The Jewish did it? Put it in the book. Any religion he ran into, put it in the book. Everybody, put it in the book. Come on, put it in the book. Whatever anybody does, put it in the book. That's how he created his book. Just put it in the book. Have the religious scholars related it to you in respect to their affairs? So Musa says that those who do astrology are religious scholars. Because how we know that? Because here Asma's asking a question. There's your question mark. And now Musa, who doesn't know what's going on, is asking Asma the following question. He's answering a question with a question. Have the religious scholars, so those who do astrology and read astrology, in the eyes of Musa al-Kazim, they're all religious scholars. And Islam will tell you, no, don't believe in astrology. Of course you believe in astrology. Your Imam believed in astrology. This is why now they say he's a nobody. He's a nobody. He's a nobody. I mean, you mop the floor with him now. He's a nobody now. How can we defend this guy? He's nobody now. He became a nobody. The religious scholars have narrated on the authority of the testimony and the trustee and the authority of the prophet. On the prophets, the religious scholars. Who are the religious scholars? The ones that did astrology. What do? They have the testimony and the trustee and the authority of the prophets in respect to their affairs. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry is a prophet. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry is a prophet in Islam. That's why you find today anybody can buy a turban from China, put it over their head, and then they become a sheikh. All of a sudden, they're a sheikh or an imam. And majority of them are gay. They're bisexuals at the very best. Imams. Whether Sunni or Shia. No difference. Al-Ma'mun and Al-Rashid heard about Musa bin Jafar. They're there. They heard a lot. People came and accused them, and they got to see the witnesses who say that this and this has happened to me. They testify to it. The Imam's high position as the worst of creatures on earth, the biggest criminals on earth, his faith in creating sins widespread the whole place. They saw it all. They learned all about it. But of course, Mullah will say the Harun had malice against the Musa al-Kazim. I mean, he just wanted the blood. He just wanted blood. If he wanted blood, he would have killed him in front of his house. Harun's malice. Oh, the psychological qualities of his malice. I mean, he was a madman. Forget about Musa al-Kazim being mad. I mean, it's perfectly normal, right? Yeah, you guys know very well. It's perfectly normal. If you have a 4-year-old daughter, what do you do with your 4-year-old daughter? You pick her up, throw her in the bed, and you start plowing in. Yeah, that's what you do. It's normal. I mean, it's the most normal man on earth. It's Harun al-Rashid that's a psychological, crazy, malice man that, throws such a man inside of a prison. Why would you throw a man in prison for plowing his daughter who's 4 years old? I mean, why? Isn't that what you do at home? I guess if you're a Muslim, you will agree. You will say, sure. I mean, Musa al-Kazim did it. Why not you? Nothing wrong with him. According to the mullahs, there's nothing wrong with him. This is exactly what you do. This is normal life. Al-Rashid invaded Al-Biramika when their name became famous and the people talked about their laudable deeds. You see, here's the problem. There were a lot of people who the mullahs will call high rank. The high rank that the mullahs are going to call high rank are all criminals. The criminals become high rank for the mullahs because the criminals are the ones that the establishment will throw in prison. Since theirs was the biggest of the criminals, now they will see all the criminals as freedom fighters. This extends till today. That's why the mullahs of the Shia Islamic world support Hamas. They support terrorist organization after 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 terrorist organization. They call them the good ones. When you go out and you do mischief, they say you're good. The opposite of what you in the West would call good. Hence, Harun's government started to crack down on criminals everywhere. They started to take them all down. If you're doing something bad, you got to be taken out. This is not how society can be built, on criminality. We have to have law and order in the country. They wanted to establish law and order. You see, the Banu Abbasids hired the Persians and the Turks to come in and lead the country into law and order. They put them in positions of power so that they can have judges. They can have an army that will do the work of a police inside the land, that arrest people that need to be arrested. The army needed to be prepared because sometimes when you go to arrest somebody, that person and his kids might pull out their swords and they might try to attack you. So you need to be military trained to deal with such a thing. They didn't have police back then. So they had to use their army. Portion of it goes and fights outside. Portion of it is inside the cities, making sure that everyone's obeying the rules of the land. So they started to arrest people. The ones he calls famous. They're famous because they did so much mischief. They did so much criminal activities that their name was well known. People would tell each other, hey, man, if you're going to go to that city, be careful about so-and-so, you know. He'll rob you. He doesn't mind cutting off a head to rob, you know. He'll sell your daughters as slaves. And you won't know where your kids are anymore. No one in the family will know. You know, they're so wide and apart. You know, the empire's big. So you could end up anywhere. They didn't have private detectives to run after and find out who these guys are, where they are, what happened. So the names would become famous. And then they would have to go and find this famous guy in whatever city doing whatever mischief. And then they would arrest him, throw him in a prison beside Musa. Then he raised them and removed them from their oppression on earth. Of course, he had malice against Musa. See, of course, he had malice, you know. Anyone he threw in prison, oh, he has a malice against them. Doesn't say that he threw people in prison because of the crimes they did. No, no, no. He had a hatred for people all of a sudden. The people talked about the merits of the Imam. Yeah, they talked about his merits. They said, this guy, we've never seen him do anything good. Everything he does is evil. Incest, rape, murder, money laundering. You know, he takes the money, gives it to his son, Ali al-Rada. Then Ali al-Rada goes and takes that money and spends it everywhere here and there. And then when they come back, they see that he spent it on the same states that Musa al-Kazim owned. So the money got passed around and came right back to himself. And then he pretended he's dead, so you don't go after him no more. And now you have to go after Ali al-Rada. And Ali al-Rada will say, listen, man, my dad took a loan from you. Yes, yes, I agree. He took a loan. He took a loan. He took a loan. I didn't take a loan from you. He took a loan from you. And he has no money. It's unfair that I should pay you. You should have gone after him before he died. And then Musa al-Kazim is alive on the other side of the door laughing. we smart. We took his money and now he can't get it back. Yeah, they knew his merits. Everybody knew his merits. I mean, who didn't know about this guy's merits? Ali bin Yaqtin ibn Ashtar believed and thought the Imam Harun himself thought that Imam was worthier of the importance of the office that he had. Ali bin Yaqtin is one of the writers of the Shia religion. They will tell you Ali bin Yaqtin was one of the followers of the Imams. Ali bin Yaqtin did this, and Ali bin Yaqtin did that, and Ali bin Yaqtin helped here. And he was one of the smugglers of the money and drugs for these Imams. Their prophet used to be a drunkard until the time when the poison was affecting him so harsh that he couldn't take the alcohol no more. That's when he stopped drinking alcohol, which they called nabid. And he forbid it for everybody else and put it in the book. Until then, it was a miracle of Allah. It's a great thing of Allah. That's when he passed the law, you cannot drink and come into the mosque no more, because he couldn't drink it. And if he can't drink it, you can't drink it. They were all on this. Abbas, who they get their Abbasid name from, he used to drink more than anybody else. He would be drunk all the time. And he's the ink of the nation, who will explain the book, the Quran. Ali was the same. He was another druggie. He was on drugs all the time. Point in case, they say, we never see him eat. He ate bread that was rock hard, which is a lie because your teeth would break. The only people that don't eat a lot are people that are on drugs. They spend their money on drugs. Likewise, he spent his money on drugs. So all of them were on drugs. Who brought them their drugs? People like Ali bin Yaqtin. They smuggled money for them. Why would you smuggle money and take money from a group of people here and a group of people there and bring it to him? And what is he going to give for that money? You're ripping off people? So this was the top of their Ponzi scheme. And when the Imam was paying money, this Musa al-Kazim was paying money to the people, like he said he is in the courtyard of Harun al-Rashid when they put court for him. They made him sit down on the carpet to hold court. He said he pays money. What do you pay money for? Nobody just comes along and says, here, I'm going to give you this money. No. You pay money so you can get something. What are you getting? He wasn't buying camels and horses and sheep. No. He was buying drugs. It's drugs that they bring from. They bring him hashish. From Khorasan, they bring him hashish. They bring him opium. Opium is big in Afghanistan. It's on the other side of the mountain. Heroin and all of that, bring it down. He has to use it. It doesn't work. He's high as a kite. All their imams are on drugs. That's right. This is the process of their imam. You know, this is the process. Every single one of them had to spend time with drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe our program will end here for the day. We will have 2 more programs after this with regarding Musa. We still have to cover parts of the 24th in Persian and English. And then I have another program also for you in the Persian language as well. If you like our programs, don't forget to like our programs, share our programs, click on the subscribe link and join us. There is another message I wanted to give you as well. I was contacted by an Iranian lady by the name of Mahboubeh Hosseinipour. She's fought a lot against the Islamic Republic of Iran and the terrorist Muslims. Her life is in danger in California, in Los Angeles. Her husband was poisoned by Islamic Republic of Iran before she left the Islamic Republic of Iran. She had treatment for her husband throughout Turkey and after Turkey when they were able to come over here legally. to United States many years ago. Her husband is still going through a long process of treatment. Due to that treatment, he's almost like in a semi-vegetable state, you could make it sound. And it's very hard for her because they're both in their older years. It's very hard for her to be able to go from the house to the hospital on a daily basis and to the doctor's appointments and all the other stuff that comes with it. They're doing very, their whole life is very poor, a sense of, because she can't go and get a job in order to take care of husband because she has to be there all the time. So it's hard to leave the house and go and come back. What she's doing now is she's trying to collect some money to get a car so that at least she can bring down the costs of having to get an ambulance or an Uber or something like that for when she needs to take her husband out to his doctor appointments or to the hospital, as frequently she takes him to a hospital. So she's opened up a GoFundMe account. If you want to help her, and I encourage you to do that, you can go ahead and underneath this program, click on the link tree link that I have there for you. In my link tree, if you scroll down to the very bottom, the last link that you find there is the GoFundMe for her page. And you can go there, click on that, and you can help her out with whatever you feel you can help her out with. If you cannot help her, or you did help her with monetary, do me another huge favor and advertise that link of her GoFundMe page in your social medias and to your friends, family members, co-workers, whoever you know, so that they can also help her out by donating to her GoFundMe page, so that at least we can help this lady achieve the goal of getting a vehicle so that they can save some money and time on being able to take her husband to the hospital and doctor appointments and so on. So until our next program, I leave you all in the hands of Jesus. God bless all of you. Bye for now.